Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
It's summertime. Somewhere in the infinite stretch between 1999 and 2001, and Adrian wants to show me something secret. Now, Adrian is the type to think of toys at the bottom of cereal boxes as classified information, so he isn't exactly the best indicator of quality, but he is still my friend, and my heart hasn't quite learned hesitation, so we go. We romp down our little cul-de-sac, jumping over the rusted guardrail, dutifully dividing our neighborhood from the sprawling wilderness, returning the eager hellos from the rogue leaves and branches that tickled our skin upon entry. Sinking deeper into the forest, I begin to notice that Adrian is not blazing his own trail as per usual, but following a pre-made path. As I'm about to ask Adrian how he found this trail, some familiar sounds catch my ear. A whoosh of air, a click of gears. Suddenly, the path opens up into a clearing and a flood of light catches me by surprise. As my eyes take a second to readjust, I see that Adrian and I have stumbled upon a self-made mountain bike arena, a buzzing microcosm of rubber and steel. A dirt path snakes its way around us, neatly composing a 200-meter ellipse, complete with twin jumps that look to be about 3 stories high. Peering up the mountain, we see the creators of this universe, the gods themselves. Teenagers. We are not worthy, as one of these mythical beings makes all too clear with her piercing question, what are you kids doing here? Before I can even open up my mouth, Adrian pipes up, we're here to ride. Instantly, I shoot Adrian a look that said, if I had laser vision, you wouldn't have eyebrows right now. But Adrian merely reflects a sheepish grin. The gods seem amused. One even offers up his chariot, a 21-speed machine of black and silver beauty. Knock yourself out, he drawls, confident that neither of us have the stones to back up our big talk. But he had never met Adrian, and I was beginning to wish that I hadn't either, as I felt his fingers on my shoulders pushing me towards my demise, all the while whispering, you got this, buddy. All I could think was that if I lived to see tomorrow, Adrian would definitely get his too. Standing atop the dirt-crusted summit, the ground below suddenly feels like an atmosphere away, and my lip begins to quiver. Hoisting myself onto this black beast, my feet can barely touch the pedals. I curl my fingers around the handlebars and try my best not to look down. Was I scared? Sure. But that's never stopped me before. Never stopped me from... And suddenly, I'm pushed down the path by unseen hands and forced to pedal for my life, the world around me becoming a blur of color and sound as I hit the jump, soar into the air, and for a moment, everything stands still. At some point, I will reconvene with the ground gracelessly, falling to a chorus of prickling laughter. At some point, Adrian and I will retreat from this almost oasis wearing fresh cuts and a bruised ego. But at this point, I'm weightless. I'm free. And anything I will ever do from here on out will be an attempt to find this feeling again. It's early Saturday evening in mid-January. Los Angeles crackles aggressively in the distance while downtown Pomona hums with life. A bustling melange of levity and motion, replete with weirdly flavored popcorn and giggling Chicano children weaving between legs. But I am here for the open mic at the bookstore. And because the shy girl who laughs in cursive and texts me when I'm sad asked me to come. I sign the list and try my best to maintain conversation with a fellow poet whose speaking volume is forever set to ASMR. When not even 10 minutes later, you arrive. We lock eyes, and you promptly leave the room. I shift in my seat and start considering an exit strategy, but not before I see you swiftly return, followed by the cursive person who smiles softly at the sight of me. I'm not sure how to respond to this juxtaposition of thought, so I let my brain reboot itself and sink into my journal. A few middling poems walk their way by before you finally step up to the mic, and I feel my heart clench. I brace myself for impact, but to my surprise, you weave an endearing piece about people pleasing, even making an animated reference ripped straight from one of our bad dates that I can't help but laugh at. Later, I notice Miss Cursive slip outside and figure this to be a prime opportunity to catch up. So I follow suit, only to find her already enraptured in conversation with an old friend. As I turn to head back into the room, I once again bump into you, who, without skipping a beat, asks if I'd like to take a walk. I say, okay. We meander in stilted silence, the air punctuated by resounding house beats clashing with a punk concert spilling out from the record store next door until I finally ask how you're doing amidst all of this. You tell me that you're frazzled, but fine. I mention how much I liked your poem from earlier, and you fill me in on how you've had nothing but sweet time, and suddenly, we're sitting crisscross from each other on the dusty curb, in our own little open mic for two, swapping poems like baseball cards, laughing about how we both thought of that one JP Sax song the second a state of emergency was declared. For a moment, it's like nothing has changed. I remember how sacred it feels when you read solely to me, dancing between verses like you're caught up in the music when your phone buzzes unexpectedly and everything rushes back to the present. All of our fights, crying at 2 a.m., dropping your stuff off on the sidewalk, the last time we kissed goodbye. In a snap, it's Genesis 3, verse 7, and we remember why this fruit is forbidden, that this ground is gross, and we should probably head back inside before the featured poet is done. We dust ourselves off, heave open the glass door, and life resumes its former status quo as we quietly dissolve into opposite sides of the room. I do a perfunctory perimeter before attempting contact with the girl that I actually came to see, but she is still twirling in a music box of inside jokes and seasoned patter, so I see myself out and take to the 10 West, musing about how easy it is to be drawn to old flames in the absence of quantified heat, about the warmth of kinetic attention and how quickly that fades. I think about how I am constantly drawn to things that burn me as I drive back into the heart of the fire, shivering from the cold. It is said that there are 3 deaths. The first is the failure of the body. The second is when that body is lowered into the ground. And the third and most definitive death is when no one is around to remember you. When I die, contrary to how I constantly show that I'm alive, do not make a spectacle of me or my departure. Do not declare my death from the rooftops. Do not post remembrances on the latest iteration of online interaction. Do not make more of it than what it is. A contract with time we one day no longer get to renegotiate. So let me set the terms I can before I go. When I die, divvy up my remains as follows. Give my heart to every city, stage, and starlit crew that has ever welcomed me as kindred soul. You might still hear remnants of my beat still ricocheting through the rafters. Give my mind to every mentor and guide that has ever helped me achieve the impossible task of giving everything I have to every single show while still holding on to my inner abundance. Give my teeth to my children and my children's children and my nieces and nephews, show them how malleable a mouth can be, how these same incisors that so often form the most iridescent grin can also be used to bite back against any who try to silence them. And give my skeleton to my haters, so that anyone who still has a bone to pick with me can finally be satisfied. When I die a second time, let the graveyard where I am laid to rest be anything but restful. Let it be a whirlwind of music and laughter and all of my favorite foods, ramen and pizza, ube and crepes, and only the juiciest cuts of Korean barbecue, all laid out on a 50-foot long table with banchan as far as the eye can see. And anyone who wants to come gets to, whether or not I knew them at all. What better way to meet me than through all the ones I've ever loved. But please, do not let anyone share any of my poems at my service. Poetry was always the means by which I observed the world around me, but when that world has ended, it is not what I want to be remembered by. My favorite poems are none of the ones I've written, but all of the ones I've written for. So instead, share a time when my words moved something inside you, made you want to write something yourself and share that blessed piece of magnificent wisdom. Evoke the echo of my laughter and yours, the dumbest thing you've ever seen me do. Or even share my certain failures, just how many times you've seen me break, only to build back up again and again and again. Every day I was alive was not a testament to perfect but perseverance. And I continue that story through you. So when I die, whether it be decades from now or the day after tomorrow, let it be with the satisfaction that I lived, the only way I knew how, loud and unabashedly passionate. And that no, I wasn't ready. I don't know if I ever will be, but this isn't really the end, as long as you remember.
I rise at dawn, and your name calls to my soul like prayers. I was your unripe cocoon, but you transformed me into an immaculate butterfly. Now I'm immersed in your embrace, and my ecstasy is immense. One gaze at your moonlit smile, and my knees wobble uncontrollably. Your flame of passionate kisses woos my heart in trance, while joy gleefully embraces my limbs, throbbing with unspoken ecstasy. Emotions bleed cheerfully when they are made impoverished by mistaken choices. Not so with you, my beloved, for you're glowing my heart like fireflies, dancing my core like a lover with no feet. We saw on the lapis lazuli of the incandescent moon flow elegantly with the bewilderment of shooting stars. This sweet love replaces all my inadequacies, for while I saw you initially as a sparkling bloom, you've suddenly become 10,000 roses. I see us tangoing without limbs, me tasting you without lips, feeling the heat of your affection in the intimacy of our presence. Last night, like divine birds, we sat on the wings of celestial entities. We embraced, and I poured out my ardent yearning like one inebriated in the rhapsody of love. I was so intoxicated that my words remained silent. Now I recall visions, your magnetic reticent cheeks, we two running around tall baobab trees, giving shade to our intimacy. I was so besotted by your lure that the soft silvery rain became a ballad in my soul. Now I surrender the agony of emotive passions, my joys and sorrows anchored in the sugar of enduring love, weeping from the quintessence of supreme delight. No more the loneliness that once spread across the fading chandeliers of transient desires. Our boat is steady, unaffected by the turbulence of waves. We sail like expert mariners, following the majestic opulence of illustrious beacons, and I prance like an explorer, ready and waiting to shout ahoy. The moon and stars call me. I rise on a firmament of light. I am now a love billionaire, savoring the chocolate of your stunning beauty as I sow on the ore of your brilliance, soaked in the vintage wine of thy sweet solitude.
I used to think children were supposed to leave. Isn't that the assignment? Grow, become, build a life that no longer requires permission. Nobody told me some parents mistake your independence for abandonment. My mother didn't just want to love me. She needed to need me, needed me to need her, as though my umbilical cord had simply become invisible, never cut, just stretched across birthdays, apartments, time zones, across every version of me trying to become someone she hadn't already imagined. Scientists call it symbiosis. Two organisms so intertwined they struggle to survive apart, but symbiosis is supposed to nourish both. So why did growing always feel like betrayal? Every boundary I built became another obituary for the daughter she preferred. She wanted me close enough to hear her heartbeat, never realizing I couldn't hear my own. I spent years biting my tongue, protecting the very hands that taught me how sharp silence could be, because exposing her felt like murdering my best friend. So I became the keeper of family secrets, the archivist of apologies she never made, the curator of wounds she swore she didn't leave. Funny. Children of enmeshment learn strange magic. We become fluent in translating someone else's emotions before we learn our own language. I knew when her voice was half a degree too soft, when "I'm fine" actually meant prepare for impact, when loving her required disappearing just enough for her to feel whole. What a terrible inheritance, to spend your life mistaking self-erasure for devotion. Somewhere, symbiosis and survival began sharing the same skin. People ask why it took so long to tell the truth. Because she wasn't just my mother, she was my first home. And nobody teaches you how to testify against the house that raised you, especially when part of you is still standing on the porch, hoping your best friend opens the door.
By August, I stopped counting explosions. My body didn't. That's the first thing you should know about a nervous system. It's a terrible liar. You can tell your mouth firework, your spine still ducks. Check. There, before thought, before language, before your grown-ass brain can say probably nothing. Psst, every animal you have ever been is already awake. Boom! I'm sound. I don't enter through the ears, that's just the front door. I enter the jaw, the shoulder, the first closing beneath the blanket. The heart throwing itself against bone. I touch the body, and the body opens every file I swore it deleted. Some grandmother's hands remember a country she never names. Some veteran is suddenly 20. Some child learns danger before learning the word, and whoever lit me runs. Interesting. Fireworks were invented to make people look up. So why does your celebration need an alibi? And why does freedom wait until dark to rehearse the sound of danger? Because repetition rehearses us. Boom! Flinch! Boom! Flinch! Boom! Nothing. There. That nothing, that is actually the poem. Eventually, the body gets tired of evacuating itself. Eventually, terror learns to whisper, and somebody mistakes that for healing. America does this too. Gunshot, flinch. Sirens, flinch. Another name, flinch. Another body, another, and another, and another. Nothing. Then we call the nothing peace. And no, I know what peace sounds like. Rain with nothing to prove, bare feet crossing a kitchen, someone you love breathing in the next room, a whole block sleeping deeply enough to forget it has locks. Peace is not a body too exhausted to keep sounding like the alarm. And now I understand August. July makes a spectacle of the explosion. August studies what happens after. Wait until midnight. Light the fuse. Run. Boom! Watch the houses stay closed. Again. Boom! Again. Until the dog is the only nervous system on the block still refusing the lie. Maybe the animal isn't overreacting. Maybe the animal is the last witness whose body has not learned to call the danger normal. I am sound. I have watched humans rename their flinch, history, policy, collateral, Tuesday. So tonight when somebody lights another cheap little star behind the houses, check. Fuse. Don't watch the sky. Watch your jaw, your shoulders. Watch your body decide whether the explosion is still worth hearing. Boom! See? You didn't even flinch.
My pen no longer bleeds for him, and it took me long enough to wave him down the road. But my Pisces always waters flowers even after they've died and are lying in the water tray down below. It's because I see possibilities. I always saw the ideology of him, but ideology turned to idolatry, and we know what happened when Rome committed that sin. The destruction of who I had become came sliding into home base to erase. The mirror gave no grace as I stared at the echo of who I was supposed to see. The truth of reality reflecting back at me. I wish I could say I gave him 100% of who I am, but the chemistry was too on point, and I gave him less of who he wanted and more of who I was not. How could I maintain boundaries when I was lying about who I needed to protect? Our love came with boxing gloves, not for abuse or TKO, but to spar with emotions. We drained our good energy when we should have left us well enough alone. Metaphorical junkies choosing hypodermic, open vein, and inject. My Homeland Security filed a report for missing persons and self-neglect. I was trauma in heels with a plan to find the man who could elevate me, but I forgot that I'm the only one who can fill my cup. His departure left me in safer space, medicine I needed no matter how bitter the taste. My trauma screamed, abandoned! But I held my tongue because that ride is at an end. And good luck finding me again. I'm no longer in a dead chat speaking my heart with my hands. I'm looking down the road, getting my ramble on, braiding my hair with wind and wild roses, filling my eyes with stars at the sight of my divine design, because I now have boundaries. Toes down, standing in the light of my self-respect, praising Source for lighting my path and for the reminder to be careful where I genuflect. I will never again worship a man. They say, speak softly and carry a big stick. I don't need a license to carry the flame that blazes my wick. I roar. When I wield to myself, I make oath. I am whisper poet, and I am celebrating my growth.
The dam broke. By instinct, when something breaks, the first thing we do is look for something or someone to blame. The problem, the villain, the reason. In matters of an affair, by default, it's the outsider. Rarely do we take accountability. We deny, we attack, we reverse victim and offender. Anything but the mirror. Yes, that was your husband, that was your wife, you took vows, you entered a covenant, but ask yourself, is this the man or woman you were truly meant to spend your life with? Maybe this is your karma. Maybe somewhere along the way you left damage behind you and never thought you'd have to account for it. Maybe you're finally carrying the weight from a previous discretion, or maybe you're just not the person you thought you were. Perhaps it's time for you to take a little self-reflection. Karma, the word we throw around so casually. Well, maybe, just maybe, this was never meant to be. Could things have ended differently? Absolutely. Could he have chosen to walk away? Could she? Because let's admit it, women cheat too. But if I'm being honest, I had to take a hard look at myself. My marriage looked good on paper, in pictures and photographs. We did all the things couples do. The vacations, the shopping, the movies, the intimate conversations. We were pretty much best friends. But the parts everyone didn't see, the ugly parts, weren't just minor disagreements. They were evidence that we should have never been together in the first place. But we stayed. Sometimes for appearances, sometimes for financial obligations, sometimes for the children, causing more harm than good. I say this as an adult who still holds resentment for a parent who sat there and suffered in silence in the name of love, in the name of family, in the name of marriage. Sometimes taking accountability means admitting, maybe I was a part of the problem too. Maybe that other person wasn't the problem. Maybe they were simply the missing 20%. My marriage ended long before she arrived. I just didn't know it yet. When she came along, things became lighter. He smiled more, he laughed more, we became playful again. I thought we were healing. What I didn't know was that whatever percentage he wasn't getting from me, he was getting from her. For a while, it made him feel whole. What I hate to admit is that sometimes the missing 20% feels heavier than the 80, when it's the part you need the most. And now, no amount of adding to the 80% can replace what's missing. Another trip, another piece of jewelry, another date night, another new sex position couldn't fix the damage that had already begun to show. Years later, I can finally see the affair wasn't the explosion. It was the smoke that told everyone there had already been a fire.
The windsock in the corner whips back and forth when I wake. Dreams of departures and planes falling from the sky still hang above me. The storm clouds roll backwards in the violence of the morning, so I'll stay in another day. It's broken glass when I breathe in. Didn't finish my dinner last night, threw half away, then woke up hungry. Trapped in my safe place, stuck with sad songs on repeat, while this haunted space waits to be filled by something that isn't coming. Living in the shadows, eyes become weak, light becomes pain, bodies break down. I find the bottom of another bottle and the answer is missing, but I'll keep looking there. Bipolar, they say. Like that's supposed to mean something more than more pills to take with food twice daily. What happens if I lose faith in the miracle? What if I bite the healing hand and turn on the treatment? Some poor practitioner wondering why this patient just won't get better. On a scale of 1 to 5, evaluate the following statements. Everything is my fault. My friends and family know I failed. Depression is calling me back to bed. Despair is so close, I can smell her. I feel hopeless. Tell me, if I document, is it testimony? If I cry, is it truth? Is this transmission getting through? Expect gusts of wind up to 50 miles per hour, pressure rising, and general fuckery that's hard to measure. Reporting from the bunker, deep within the storm, your favorite nobody, Nemo Sum.
Honeymoon. Death made a mistake with me. 1, 2, 3 times it tripped. 4, 5, 6 times on my back, drowning under gross weight of man sweat. Birds do not tolerate this nonsense. No more shall I. Stand tall, doltish woman, unless to go underground. No more prose salve the coffin bell. Night reveals her salve hand. Hubris star, hubris moon. Oh, sanguine ring of destiny. Little girl shall not anemic become for you or all the XY harmful ones. Hello, little death. Won't you take a turn with me? I wait, eat dirt in the haycocks. Sip ring of our mystery, consummate moon cycle, sun, dumb, misnomered bleeds, plasmatic for me. Mildew, umpteenth bottle, diaper, husband, do me, daddy. Uncles come and uncles blow cover. Don't I grow the lilies? Don't I bleed the new spring green? Patterned dirt succumbs, the bugs are browning down. Photosynthesis spurring. Hymenal flood excites, is excruciating. This is the final tea, love. This is the relative disaster barbecue. Thus I cannot attend. Death made its miscarriage unheeded, laid down as light did in its marriage bed. And to traipse the edge of the dumb balustrade, take some big balls, tiptoes along the ticking of her hem. Alone, heather purpled edges, fingernails hunting mice, mouths, lips mouthing at their toes, devouring men. I like things quiet in my head. For making words minced to serve up like snotty eggs became my job, did it not, Ted? Brownies, juleps, such and such cocktails. Nevertheless, did you not commit me? A pathetic little death and called it martyring or womanhood. Still life pose till something else comes into view. Asya, a little toad in the pocket in your road. Her pert breasts percolating, peeking. And I, at the family table, chewing dull the pencil's carbon-tipped ear, planning to wrap the robin's wing and to force feed worms to our 2 newborn hatchlings.
I'm so nervous. A serpent's breathing is a solo journey to higher ground. This is where I first formed winding serpent slash. My inner child was made magi, madoka, magica maliciously. So I became an assassin, more Cobra Kai, less garden and garden snake, an iron-blooded orphaned lung. I learned how to hold my breath after hatching, but before warnings, before learning when to strike at the joints versus biting a tongue, the story of a rib bone birthing the beginning of life is believed as if it were fact, as if the rib became its own Holy Ghost writer to disguise its last supper on the dinner menu at a table of shinigami and kishins making room for a Turkish delight. I've seen a decrepit Dom Shao Tucker vows into nightmares, log the terrors with the Sandman. It only took a second form, venom fangs of the narrow head, a big fat Greek wedding with a Venus flytrap centerpiece, a record of a red wedding Ragnarok, an annulment. Medusa had no choice but to reptile, like Hail the Hydra, dry skinning her legs into knee-high boots, fancy footloose footwear for the devil, May cry a flash dance, summon a demon in a zoot suit with tap shoes, spinning atop the wraith of my wretchedness, serpent breathing, relies on one lung. A Mugen train to the end of the world, jumping the tracks like a Rasputin runaway bride. Snakes lack diaphragms, which makes screaming impossible. A whomping willow weeps the same way snakes commit suicide. Under a trigun trinity, a black star soul eater, my hell's paradise, my hollow husband, we be the fist of the North Star crossed lovers, dancing on dandelions like bungo stray dogs, yet my Akita Evita keeps coming up with Anne Sexton's roses, but her flowers got nothing on hand-printed bouquets of the Gabimaro garden variety from a never-never-land formerly known as Eden, overgrown by poison ivy, the touch-me-nots in a harlequin turned Tokyo ghoul. I must have the last laugh in a leaning tower of God. Shikigari halos, Dobby dipped in Dracula deep fryers, be jealous of the natural coils, my bodies while crowning black bodies who Bakugar B-star bark like world trees, hand-me-downs handed down a serpentine bipolar bicephaly, a diagnosis, Baki botched and blacked out boozer binges in back rooms, vermilion vapor and Jogo volcano vestiges, puff, puff, pass, the magic dragon, that's the Marileona hot spring training, the fifth form, slithering serpent, oh, salamander. A mojito on the rocks, if you will, the third form, coil choke. You thought your hands could conjure fire, but ain't no death grip like the one I've had on a Bible and apple, holding them up in fruits basket like Castlevania's crosses and garlic. The masses mistook the apothecary diaries for death notes, written in the fourth form, twin-headed reptile pen-paling P.S. I love yous, post-dating a holy war memento in a Big Bang Theory lanyard that hung the skeleton key that made my body swing on the angel beats. Beat. DJ, drop that body bag headbanger so the asses can twerk. Funny, ain't it? How the decapitated and decomposing pose larger threats than a landscaper snaking gardens as prep work for praying, as if the apple seed didn't fall far from the here's Johnny. It's incredible how quickly lowercase gods forget their atoms be showing. Made Medusa into the source before turning in for the Eve and charmed her out of her venom and condemned her for being venomous within the same breath work. I learned how to breathe through dust, through ash, through powdered jinxes, an arcane arch left by Noah's Ark after every exfoliating expiration. Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
I can paint you a picture of motherhood. One that I have planned out in great detail. I have memorized each brushstroke. I can recite the curvature of every line as it twirls and swirls across the canvas. It is a picture of a warm smile, a big heart, and a safe space. In every shade of color, the nurturing love of motherhood shines brightly. I was brought into this world for the sole purpose of being the artist behind the creation of a human being, one to be molded into a beautiful soul who will in turn bring beauty into the world. But my canvas remains empty. My brushes are dry with cracked paint, and it scratches the surface as I attempt to etch my sorrow upon it. I reach out and grasp only air, a mournful melody of a lullaby I will never sing. My arms ache with the prolonged effort of rocking phantoms. My body remembers the cradle of my love personified. It was denied. My heart still beats, as if to two heartbeats at once. Even my dreams are plagued with ghosts, tiny fingers I will never hold, a voice I will never hear, calling me Mama. I was born to be a mother, to soothe, to teach, to give life where there was none, and yet life turned its face from me, and the womb I was given became a tomb for my hope. I cannot tell where my tears end and my rage begins. I cannot tell where my prayers rise and my curses fall. I have been patient. I have been faithful. I have swallowed my sorrow like glass, but tell me, God, why give me this hunger, if only to starve me with it? Why carve my body for creation and then mock me with emptiness? Do you hear me? I was born to be a mother. I was born to give love, form, and breath, and you ripped that birthright from my hands. I am still here, still aching, still holding the broken brushes of my dream, and tonight I am done holding my pain politely. Tonight I shout into your heaven. Why? Why give me a heart shaped like a cradle and then leave it empty? Why place this fire in me if it is never to warm a child's skin? Why carve me in the image of creation if only to make me a killer? You made me an artist and then burned the canvas. You made me a mother and then stole the child. So hear me, God. I was born to mother. I was born to create, and I will drag my broken faith to your altar and demand that you look at what you have done. And as I look around at your creation and the evil you birthed into this world, the way it gnaws at its own humanity like a trap-stuck fox giving up a leg to save the body, I realize that my most profound act of motherhood was never becoming one.
Like a river we'll be running free. Don't see me as I untangle these knots of deception. Brainwashed ideology is the conflict of interest in our hearts, playing their game. Step 1, pull your card. Step 2, find your position. Step 3, roll the dice, move forward, get knocked down, then take 2 steps back. Step 4, this game is rigged. Toss out those old rules. Now let just us begin. Understanding, upping the authenticity of our freedom is the new game. Smiling cordially, having their difficult conversations, educating on the wrongs, hoping they'll make it right. Don't see me as I form these new alliances and begin to climb stealth-like movements, books of old no longer equipped, and they're hiding our history. So we're reading from a new script, hailing from the mountaintop. Freedom is on the line. Wake up. Government cheese isn't free. It's never been free. Imprisonment of goals, disintegration of our families, unbinding the liberties of unions. It's never without cost. Wake up, summon the cry of our ancestors and allow their tenacity to take hold of your being. Freedom! Your spirit animal awakens. She makes a lot of beautiful noise when broken from the entanglement of their webs. Don't let them see you in the light of their shade as you untangle those chains and disconnect from their web. Sweet melodies ring. We were built for this. We were built for the long game. So keep striving, keep climbing, finding the beauty we were meant to be. And like a river we'll be running free. Don't see us as we untangle your knots of deception.
Front row seating ain't always the position you want to get a view from, but it's the perfect position to sit in with your eyes locked in on orange. Face forward, front row seat, shouldered in a jumpsuit that says violence, guilty, I am criminal, the man who destroyed your life as you know it. When you're peering on a target, right up front, waiting the opportunity to take a shot, courtrooms are cold, more so when you're the one up against a judge. Colder than the cuffs resting where your gloves used to end. And your hands in restriction is just enough space to open up a bullseye. Heavy breathing inside, trying to hide all the rage. Audience to the center stage as the judge tells the bailiff to escort the convict back to his jail cell. Back to await the upcoming days your child should have had. The last chance is here. This is the moment, the one true reason that you are even there, and you can't wait to return the favor. Your legs move before your head does, leaping the bench to get your balled up fist to his face, your grip mangling around his throat, his teeth lost to least your knuckles, least of all a thumb plunged deep enough to dig an eye outside of his head. You want a piece of the guy who took your family away, yesterday, today, and tomorrow too. Your heart and your balls, risking it all, and I don't know if he was too small or too slow to carry out his plan as the sheriff stepped in between the two before he could even get a swing through, cheating him out of his last attempt to plumber the face and exact revenge on the monster, the man who robbed your chest of all the reasons it beats. And now with your heart missing, you could taste it bleed as it slips like sand grains from the clench of your hands. I felt his pain, the dissatisfaction bittering him to a frown. How he hadn't come near to the crowning in his blow, stripped of avenging the life of his child. But I know he had his taste placking behind his teeth as he sucked in agony. Death waits like an engine running in place, but hate is a transcending energy. And though his assailant would die dated soon, as a father he will hurt the rest of his days, choking on the bitter taste of not ever getting even.
Safety is an illusion. Always has been illusion. Will always be an illusion. Corner stores, check cashing spots, liquor stores, any apartment complex, any residential housing community, any upscale, uptown restaurant, parking lot, any downtown luxury living loft and or gated community simply is what's that God Roger that and 10-4 ain't shit but nothing more, a bunch of quick cash withdrawal locations. Who really needs a Visa, a Discovery card, an Amex when there's loose background checks, state lines via online, via gun expos, tech nines, fofos, 30-aught 6 hunting rifles, 50 cows, Desert Eagles, my 38 special nickel revolver who snub nose knows every night at 6 p.m. your wife walks a cute little Yorkshire Terrier. Every night I walk around your block with my cute special snub nose revolver 38 special. It might not be registered AKC, but I got an SKS and an AK and a collapsible stock AR-15 that this broken economy has me more than willing to let you see. Whenever the need arises in me, liquidate all your assets and swallow up all your paper. When my earth dog started barking, I'm a man, I'm Americana's repercussions. I'm still living at the corner of student loans and I can't find a fucking job because of fucking recession. So now I'm a master's degree, Second Amendment motherfucker that uses a Mossberg pumper as a master key. My homeboy graduated magna cum laude and mastered the learned arts of loops, holes all through law school. Jewish cat Euro suit, stay strapped with me when I'm riding Johnny Cochran. I know a lawyer with the concealed weapons permit, known for popping up strap when it's Johnny's cock friend. So now I am a Second Amendment motherfucker with a MBA master's degree, except I use this Mossberg pump as a MasterCard and a master key. Charge your ass to the game, Mr. Racist, Sexist, Family Man. Fuck your alarms and fuck your deadbolts. As long as healthcare reforms off the fucking chain and my mama still needs surgery money for her brain, Mr. Family Man, as long as stricter gun reforms off the hook, Mr. Family Man, anytime and anywhere in any neighborhood, Mr. Family Man, fuck your deadbolts. This Mossberg Pump MasterCard's master key can remove any door right off its hinges. If you cared about your white picket houses, fences, college funds, and 2.5 children, you should start by not only arming yourself, but not giving people like me the opportunity to. I am college's highly educated and unemployed in white America now that it's a white problem. Ain't nobody fucking safe. Swear for God.
I am blood and iron, speaking with my whole tongue and dragging my epiphanies by the hair. I am salt and roses cleansed and purified, draping myself in carmine. Energy hums through the ley lines of my veins. The mother blessed me with my truth. I have work to do. I am moon water and honey, a drum stitched from the crumpled remains of what I no longer carry. I distill energy from those who would drain me, dancing in the dark to pay homage, breathing in the magic of honeysuckle sorcery in midnight air. I am tears trapped in crystal, preserving the beats of my heart and waiting for the one who has waited lifetimes to receive the gift of them. I can feel him rising with the wind, a warrior who comes to claim me with steel and defend me with his bones. He is the one I have known. Across time and through the veil, I am his earth, the water of his roots, of his being. He is the fire that inspires, the zephyr that blows the blaze higher. My blood recognizes him. We are naked in the garden, ready to rebraid the unpardonability of sin. So sit and eat while I pour the wine. God got stuck in traffic. He'll be late for dinner, and he will arrive in perfect time. The appetizer is ready, and its flavor is truly divine. So come close to me, warrior. Let me rest my heart on your chest. Stand as my protector, so that when I give you the apple, don't be a bitch about a little biblical duress.
They say black folks can't swim. I've always wondered who taught them to mistake memory for fear. Trauma doesn't always inherit language. Sometimes it inherits shorelines. The Atlantic, they call it a body of water. Whose body? Because the Atlantic has swallowed enough names to qualify as an ancestor. Every wave feels like somebody trying to remember out loud. History calls it the Middle Passage. The Greeks told stories about Atlantis. The Yoruba already knew the ocean had names older than maps. Funny how every civilization tries to explain the same ocean using its own language. Maybe the deeper you dive, the less those languages argue. Maybe they begin recognizing one another. History says Atlantis disappeared beneath the sea. History says millions of my ancestors did too. Funny, only one story gets permission to imagine what happened after they vanished. When Europeans imagined Atlantis, we called it philosophy. When I imagine my ancestors being welcome, suddenly imagination becomes irresponsible. Maybe Atlantis wasn't lost. Maybe history just wasn't invited. Colonizers have always confused what they couldn't conquer with what didn't exist. History has always been peer reviewed by the victors. Maybe the captains thought they were throwing bodies overboard. The ocean called them by name. Maybe before the Atlantic learned their names, Yemoha already had. Maybe Oya, maybe before their bodies touched the water, Oya was already the wind meeting them halfway, not to erase their grief, but to make sure slavery wasn't the last thing that introduced itself. Maybe the first thing they heard wasn't silence. Maybe it was, come here, you've carried enough. Maybe Atlantis wasn't a city. Maybe it was what happens when ancestors refuse to let each other arrive alone. They say we don't swim. Maybe they're asking the wrong question. Maybe we don't fear the water. We just remember what it witnessed, because memory has always looked irrational to people who never had to inherit it. So, do I believe in Atlantis? I don't know. But I know history has never been particularly good at recognizing Black civilizations. I know the Atlantic still whispers names textbooks never learned to pronounce. And if history reserves the right to imagine how my ancestors were taken, then I reserve the right to imagine how they were welcomed. Because if history only remembers where they entered the water and never where they arrived, tell me, who decided the story was finished anyway?
Come closer. See that trembling inside the glass? That's me. Not the light. The little wire making it. There's metal inside my body, and every time my kidney catches it, I become electrical. First, it's heat. Jaw locks, sweat breaks across my lip like my body knows before I do. Here it comes. And then, white. Everything white. I can still see you. I just can't get to you. Pain moves me somewhere behind my eyes and locks the door. I'm in here. I am. And God, this hurts. I press my hand into my back because I need something I can control to touch what I don't, but the stent is deeper than my hands. So I stand there, glass, sweating, filament shaking, trying not to become the sound my mouth is holding. I keep saying this is going to break me. Today, I realized I've been grieving my breaking before it happened, spending what little I have left trying not to hurt what already fucking is hurting. So, when it came again, I didn't bargain. I let my face change, let my body bend, let pain be exactly as terrible as it was, and somehow I was still there, not above it, not stronger than it, just inside it. 3 steps. Stop. Breathe. 2 more. Kitchen counter. Head down. White. Wait. There. The room again. That's my life right now. Leaving. Returning. because pain keeps reaching inside me and turning the dimmer with its whole fist. I'm at capacity. Not almost. At. Filament red. Emergency red. Please don't ask me for anything else red. No extra body. No secret reserve. No brave version of me waiting backstage. All of me is already on the wire. I need another surgery. Until then, this is where I live. Inside hot glass. With something foreign touching something tender and my whole nervous system answering. I cannot stop the electricity. Today, I stopped trying. Not surrender. I just finally put my hand around the shaking filament and said, I won't make you fight this too. And something broke. Not the bulb. The argument. I had been asking this hurting body to also be a body that wasn't hurting. God, no wonder I'm exhausted. So now I stop wherever pain catches me. Hallway, kitchen, halfway to the fucking bathroom, hand against the wall, head down, waiting for 1 inch back, and sometimes I forget what it was I was walking toward. And I guess that's what fucking gets me. The ordinary shit pain keeps stealing. Walking without calculating, turning over in bed without consequence, laughing without my kidney answering, and I guess I miss that body. But tonight, I'm here. Metal in me, filament red, sweat on my lip, and when the voltage hits, my body folds. My whole fucking room goes white. And I'm in there. I'm in there. Not above the pain, not beyond it, inside every unbearable second listening for the sound of myself breaking. But all I hear is the current. The current. The current. And underneath it, this tiny red wire screaming, this hurts. This fucking hurts, and I'm still in here. Maybe that's all this poem is. Pain finding somewhere to go, besides deeper. So, if you came looking for the poem, come closer. Look past the sweat, past the hot glass. There, that tiny red wire still trembling. And listen, you've been hearing my filament write this whole fucking thing in light.
Sad King John would like to say hello. Or Sad King John would like to confess. Sad King John would like to show you the fragments and tell you which elbow did the bumping and offer to pay generously for the damages. Sad King John would like to stop being so loud. Maybe he's too quiet. Or Sad King John would like to stop saying stupid stuff when he's just trying to be nice. And what does nice mean anyways? Sad King John would like to sing, but he doesn't. Or Sad King John would like to apologize for how few lines he's written and how often he speaks them. Sad King John would like to create something beautiful, or Sad King John would like to smash it all to bits. Sad King John would like to forgive himself, but Sad King John knows why they left. Sad King John would like to watch the city lights blink, hear the hum of the cars passing by, be still. Or Sad King John would just like to say good night.
With 48 laws of power, 13 families rule the world. Military, police, Food and Drug Administration, healthcare, welfare, education, currency, media, technology, the 3 branches of law. They've embarked upon everything, air, land, and sea, intending to claim it all, while redirecting their attention towards criminology. They've been the anti-hero all along. Behold a pale horse if you've ever seen one, self-knighted and lanced, ready to joust from one end. The commander-in-chief takes to the oval seat like a medieval throne, staff in hand. Their White House has become an orange man's castle. The American democracy, America's monocracy, A republic dictatorship driven by a pyromaniac whose primary focus is centered on the blaze. The Satanism of a mind who tortured everything around it. The nation's capital's bricks been ablaze, burning like fire coals. The fumes jet stream in artificial smoke clouds chemtrailing throughout the country. Where do you find comfortable seating in a house on fire? Bodies taken to the stairs to avoid the flames. Cities been ignited by ICE agents as wrongful death tolls escalate. Officer pardons, policy overhauls reversing, decades of diversity and civil rights enforcement mechanisms, all at the president's command. Every signature of his across a government document is another gateway to the hell he has promised. Power at his palm in the form of a pen slit more throats than Excalibur ever did. The fire in his deceptive response to questioning has fanned justice away. He offers gasoline in exchange for question answering, fakes his own assassination in front of viewers. Cherry syrup never sapped such baloney before until it politicized his earlobe. His flame thrown across the sea won't have a welcoming hand waiting to greet him. His charred walk parades the dance of his flames. Any direction he fans. The black smoke's familiar. Patches of black people mass incarcerated, taken for more cotton, neck noose, burnt, needless to stake. The fabric of our lives take to flame too easily. Our streets bear the ashes of the hell we've endured. And now the house, that white house of yours, became an orange man's castle. A boy playing with matches, and now it's completely ablaze. Where do you find comfortable seat in a house on fire? The Oval Office, behind the president's desk, the source from which it came.
They walk through life with eyes wide shut, in denial that their TV sets lied, that their holy books are plagiarized by amnesia patients, suffering post-traumatic stress since the Spanish Inquisition, trading land for beads and Bibles to those who could not read, then forced to believe that the cross would save them. They said, believe us, but it didn't save Jesus. Immaculate conception, reincarnation, resurrection, or suffer the wrath of the sword in those days of dark called medieval, ruled by society's secrets, degrees and planets, evicted from temples, numbers keepers. King James, the filthy, drunken pervert, seized the scrolls and flipped the scripture, but never got instructions to decipher the inscriptions passed down by master teachers, otherwise known as Egyptians. So tell me, who's defining this definition? Did he fit the description in the lineup of those accused of treason? Tell me, Buddha, what do you think of this new guy, Jesus? Should we ask Krishna if he's come to confuse us? After all, crusaders burned witches at the stake. So was he sent to deceive us with the veil of misconception that there was only one immaculate conception, crucifixion, resurrection? Well, first you better take a look at the planet's ancient mystery books. It doesn't take a CSI to know that there were thieves in the temple. Word, that lying Judas. You mean he didn't speak of Horus or Attis, Krishna or Dionysus, Buddha or Mithra, and those of every family? You'd best to find the righteous path, learn the science and the math, to play the dozens to everything there's a season. 12 tribes equal 12 disciples equal 12 constellations or planets around Horus the sun. The secret of life is one. How do I know this, you ask? At high noon, I shaped it into a dove. I was there when he stood in a circle squared.
In a Death Notes table of contents, I found families digging dead pools in chalk outlines of a slum village, just below sea level with $10 a month rent payments, backyard clotheslines, and baby mamas selling food stamps 50 cents on the dollar. but ain't got access to clean water. Yet this ponton train makes frequent stops at busted levees, Congo Square, and slave ports that still deal in flesh. This is how a slave auction became a casino, a final resting place for a paradise to perish, run by hood-rich survivors of Reaganomics with smiles made of broken fire escapes, playing in coffins wrapped in caution tape, buried in wishes that our children trade baby rattles for gun battles and go straight from playpens to state pens. Sipping quarantine Kool-Aid out of bullet holes from prison pipeline runoffs. They call it free lunch programs. In our homes, black on black crime scene photos look more family reunion than cookouts. We mean mug shots like school picture day. Funny how learning takes a back seat to earning ballistic statistics. They'd rather curate blue collars and squalor than scholars from Harvard, but we HBCU. With your reconstructed amendments hanging from petty discrepancies that leave plantation skeletons hanging in privatized closets. They try to censor us senseless with a census since us versus them don't fit Confederate syntax. Wipe your mouth before you disrespect this killer's conscience. This is for every 311 a cracker ever called to put the cracker in Karen. Diversity working in reverse. See, we run these streets. So I'll become a Black Panthers 10-point program with my door unlocked, screaming, get your hand out of my pack of pickled peckerwood pockets before I spin this block. We ain't built the same. Wipe your feet before you even think about disrespecting every bit of Baldwin in this blood. We are not your Negroes. You come knocking on this door like the police. Your lowercase God can't save you from this work that answers. You either gonna get carried out or buried out back. When war knows your address, how do you prepare? Put one in the air. Remind your oppressors we ain't never scared. Tell them pull up. I fucking dare you.
I'm outside in the dark because I'm gonna sing you a song. This is by Selena, and it's called No Me Queda Más. No me queda más que perderme en un abismo de tristeza y lágrimas. No me queda más que aguantarme en mi derrota y brindarte felicidad. No me queda más. Si tu regreso hoy sería una imposibilidad. Y esto que no era amor, lo que niegas, lo que dices que nunca pasó, es el más dulce recuerdo de mi vida. Yo tenía una esperanza en el fondo de mi alma que un día te quedarás tú conmigo. Y aún guardaba una ilusión y aumentaba el corazón, mi corazón que hoy tiene que verte como solo amigo. Y aunque viví enamorada y totalmente equivocada, no me importa. Porque esto si fuera amor, por mi parte, lo más lindo, el más grande amor. Y aunque siempre lo renuncies para mí, fue lo más bello. Fue lo más bello.
Dig this. President Richard Nixon is idle with tricky dick tendencies without physical action, communicates nothing while speaking highly in hidden messages, hidden meanings, motivated insanely with coinage minus virtuous merit, 30 mil in various currencies, obtained illegally, cheating while beating developmenting systematics, demerited infrastructure, without guilt, without feeling robotic tendencies, seeking, destroying Vietnam, sneaking, bugging, rigging election articles with headlines reading Nixon wins again is digested simultaneously in Detroit, in Chicago, weeping nation declaration via rigged silence majority. Friends becoming enemies, America shedding generational spites, adding increased issues, pancaking, flapjacking, towering panic.
Growing up, the black sheep in my town and my tribe, I've always especially resonated with the world of anime. From their colorful casts, to their lonely heart heroes, to their embrace of the crazy that came with the day. And while I can appreciate organized sports and whatever is or is not punk rock, they never spoke to me as earnestly as this art form. But the one sound I could never quite get behind was this superiority complex that dripped with disdain, with judgment, with comments like child's play or just another passing trend. So allow me to say this once so I need not say it again. When it comes to the topic of anime, tread lightly, for you enter my domain, my spirit world and shadow realm, and should you speak with disrespect, I'll be quick to put pen to paper, writing not quite a death note, but an expose on your tonally deaf notes and all that I hold dear haters, naysayers, and humans who just can't read power levels. Anime is not just an art in and of itself, but a part of my personal upbringing, a sensei to my ascendance, unlocking the confidence store within my millennium puzzle. Anime taught me a lot of crucial life lessons, like being a better person regardless of where you came from, because the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Mewtwo taught me that being an outsider ain't such a bad thing, that you can learn a lot about the meaning of home through wandering, and that sometimes the village is just afraid of what they do not understand. They've been taught to survive by fearing what's beyond the wall, blind to the fact that there's a titan right in front of them, 5'9" tall. It taught me how to laugh at myself, that even if you throw shade at me and straight filthy, or even if you don't know what box I fit in, gender, pronoun, or otherwise, it don't matter. I'll still gladly host your eccentricities, and though I know my bars are full metal, I may be overlooked because my shine status don't pop up on your Pokedex, but that still won't stop my drill from piercing the heavens, from me fighting for the title of Hokage, from me being the very best that no one ever was, from me channeling my inner Avatar, spitting fire, flowing fearlessly, staying grounded in what I am without claiming the identity of what inspired me to be. And it taught me the importance of loyalty and friendship. Because while y'all can throw casual shade at me till I'm straight filthy, the minute you start bad-mouthing my brothers, my inner flame flavor comes out in a snap. It's Kaioken times 10. It's me in full demon, lyrically livid, hitting out 100 consecutive normal punches and bruh, don't make me bring out my bankai. Because anime is not just fluff and fan service. No, anime serves a purpose. Not as a genre, but a medium. A way to contain a story of worth its meaning goes beyond its subs and yes, even dubs, and connects to me and my fellow weebs. So please, even if you don't understand and really ask that you don't interject, let me maintain this trait in peace. Treat this interest as a friend in the flesh, because trust me, it might as well be. So every time I shine on the mic, I met with a range of responses. Mostly well-intentioned, with folks new and old expressing their blessings towards my penchant to be bold. Some less positively opinionated. Others saying I'm just so-so. But every time, there's always at least one curious cat in the crowd who asks, Soul, why are you so damn cheesy? To which I reply, with a full moon glowing in my molars, you ain't seen nothing yet. My typical set, just an amused boosh. This ain't even the full platter, pal. More like a mini, witty bite meant to whet your mental appetite. Show that I know how to get down with the funk, but stay up in the groove, yeah. My competitors can barely calm and bear it, but I don't care. This process ain't processed. I'm as fresh as it gets, an artist and artisanal, baby, Swiss like an army knife. So multi-purpose, I am perfect in the cut, or if y'all need that grit done right. My rhyme's so sharp, it's like a burrata bomb to a pun fight. Mono, you don't want this smoke. I have my own enzyme. I went from amateur to pro alone, and I know so much because I've honed my craft. I stay cooking because I never take it easy, Mac. I am the culture I was created from, yet still finding new mics and mouths to feed. Even if I spread myself thin, I stay consistent and smooth. always on the move, cause anywhere I see, I go. I stay cold, B. A known entity from SD to Monterey. Jack my style? Sure, you can try, but my true tribal no, that's not your riz. No matter what Wiz tries to imitate my flavor, my true fans savor when I serve in person. They see that magic has occurred. I never let anyone get the cheddar in me. Even when I'm grilled, I stay chill, I don't crumble. I aim to raise the bar, but also pair well with it. Good with Franks and Steins, call me a monster with sweeter spots peppered in. I'm American with Pinoy skin, sunscaped hands, and pasture eyes. Brought up under heat because the way Mother Nature packaged me, but never brought to my melting point. It's all good. No parm, no foul. Never showed how much I was fed up. Made sure I never looked blue. Now I've molded an entire scene around me, all the while staying a pretty fond dude. And it's true. While some may say I'm an acquired taste, I am anything but stale. No matter how you slice it, there just ain't no one greater. Even amongst my Hispanic homies, I'm always given the okay. So if you don't get it by now, let me cut to the chase. I am the goat, the mats, the ops, the Havarti starter, the seer of the paneer, the thrice blessed creme fraiche, the one you ricotta see to believe, the big cheese. And you best be out my way. My poetry is kind of like the moon. I mean, I guess you could say it goes through phases. I mean, there are some times when it feels really dark and brooding, like maybe there's a sea up there. I mean, a sea I can swim in. I can swim in a space with no air and feel like I'm in zero gravity. But there is so much gravity to the situation we're living in right now. I mean, to be in our Lord of Christ this year of 2026, when it feels like the world is perpetually burning, God, what I wouldn't give to have a little bit of space, to be in outer space. I mean, gosh, I just want to get out. And sometimes I wonder, I look up and I see that waxing gibbous and I wonder, is it made of cheese? Just like I am, just like all my poetry is made to be, because my poetry is a frequency. I mean, it could be a certain number of gigahertz. Is it 88 miles per hour? Or is that a Back to the Future reference of a movie I've never even seen before? I want to go back to the present because the present is a gift, and I want to be on the same frequency as all of my fellow poets and my movers and my shakers and my dancers in the wind. And I'm sorry that I'm not one of those Filipinos that sings. I'm not one of those people that can sing outside in the night and sing a beautiful ballad in another language, because poetry is the language I speak in. It's the frequency I feel most comfortable in, because poetry is kind of like a fusion. It's like when Goten and Trunks stand on opposite sides, point their hands together, and somehow go SSJ3. Where does the J come from? I don't know, but I'm in LA. Normally, I just smoke it. I mean, damn, I'm just smoking. I'm blazing. I'm going to another level. I'm unlocking my ultra instinct. I mean, poetry is an instinct to me. It's something that comes so naturally. I mean, poetry is the chop, sis. I mean, it's feeling kind of chopped, sis, bro, fam, gang, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I feel like sometimes poetry is emotion to me, and sometimes it feels like I'm just out of place. Like I just need to get my letters straight. I mean, I could do the whole alphabet backwards if I wanted to, but I'll put it right now in this specific position to show you that I do belong, that I always belong, that I make myself belong, because poetry is my bing bong. It's my song. It's my sound effect. It is my own Foley. I mean, gosh, I live in LA, right? So I'm part of that big Hollywood scene. I'm part of the silver screen. I could make all the sound effects I want. Hell, I spent 10 years as a beatboxer before I got kicked out of Wild and Out. But now I'm wilding in. I'm bringing people in onto my frequency, shooting for the moon. And even then, I'll just land among the stars, showing all this nuclear fusion that exists in my words and my verbal frequency, and showing that even if I feel out of place, I can always come right back